So I've escaped the city for a few days. I'm down at my parents' enjoying a bit of trail running. So today I just want to talk a bit about my approach to planning out my ultramarathon training. So kind of four areas, like one, the schedule and planning out how much volume I'm going to run. Second is more about like the sessions that I want to do each week. The third is really like lifestyle factors, so things like yoga and stuff that I want to build into my training plan. And fourth is how I actually plan for the race, so how I'm going to pace it, etc. So I'm going to head back up to the house now so we can talk about so we can get into the detail. So I just want to talk about my approach to my current training block in terms of how I've planned it out and the different elements of it. So to start with, focus purely on, right, when am I going to do the race? What's my goal? I know that I have Brighton Marathon booked in on the 12th of the 9th, 12th of September, which is basically 6 weeks into this training block, which is, given that I came into it with no fitness, I definitely didn't have enough time to run a decent run there. So I realised that that was going to be more of a training run, and I decided that roughly 6 weeks after that I would try and do this solo ultramarathon. So it turned into a 12-week training block with Brighton Marathon basically as a training race. Essentially my goal for Brighton Marathon is just to survive, and the solo ultramarathon is similar. On my own, I'm not going to push myself to my limit. I just want to see what's possible on my own. So whether I can run that distance without having to have the support of a big race around me. So let's talk about the structure beyond that. So first I look at the volume. So how much am I going to do? So I know I've got Brighton on the 12th of the 9th, and then I'm going to do the Ultra on the 24th of the 10th. So 12 weeks. I'm going to ramp up my volume in the first block quite aggressively to try and get as much fitness and stamina for Brighton Marathon. Then after Brighton Marathon, I'm going to taper off and have a bit of a recovery week, and then again ramp up into the training for the second half of this training block. So I'm going to have basically 2 peak training weeks in this block. One before Brighton, which will be next week, and then the real peak is going to be in the second block, which is 120 kilometres. I'm not going to have much time to taper for these races, just because of how short this training block is, especially for Brighton. Basically prioritising those fitness gains that I can get from the high volume rather than being rested and recovered for the race. In the second half, I will probably taper a bit more for the ultramarathon, but again, I'm not trying to run this as fast as I can, so I'm not too concerned about how recovered or rested I am. I just want to focus on getting as much stamina and fitness in before that date. So, weekly structure. So, I personally always like to have a rest day, so 1 day per week where I'm going to take a full day off from running. So no training or anything, just personal preference. Obviously long runs I save for the weekend, and I will slowly build up the volume of those long runs. On Tuesday I will be typically doing a speed session, although saying that, given how I came into this training block in terms of fitness, if I'm too tired from the long runs, I will skip those speed sessions, because I'm not trying to run these races as fast as possible. On Fridays I will typically be running a tempo session for the first 6 weeks, and then in the second block of 6 weeks I'll probably do a bit of hill work as well as tempos, so kind of mix it up, basically focus on that strength. In the second half of the training, I'm going to start to build in back-to-back long runs. So I'm going to do a couple of weekends. So a 35k and a 30k on a Saturday and Sunday respectively. and then a 38k and a 32k on the weekend of the 17th of October. So those are going to be quite tiring weeks, but really going to help me build up the strength for the 60k that I'm going to do. In addition to this training block, I'll also be trying to build in kind of lifestyle factors. So things such as yoga and strength training. I'll probably try and do each of those 3 times per week. Again, prioritizing yoga over the strength work, just because of the high volume I'm going to be doing. I don't want to put too much stress on my body. So if I'm tired, I'll prioritize yoga over strength. I'm also going to try and improve my diet. Whilst I was studying my masters, my diet fell apart. So essentially I'm going to try and run a bit of a calorie deficit through this training block to drop a bit of weight, just because of how much I put on during the summer. Just try and get a bit more lean. And finally, I will do this a bit more intensely towards the actual race, but I've started to plan out the route. So not so much for Brighton Marathon, but more for the solo Ultramarathon. I know this is not going to be the hilliest run in the world, because I'm going to basically run across London, and it's a generally flat city. But there are a couple of points where I'm going to be doing quite a bit of elevation. So what I've done is I've mapped out the route on a website called Plotter Route, and I've looked at, and I'm going to look at a few things. So one, where are the long extended hills? Where am I going to climb for 4 or 5k? And essentially I need to make sure that my body that I'm comfortable, even when I'm tired, running up a hill with that kind of elevation. And I know there's one around, the 40k mark in the run, and I will make sure that I am trained, my body is strong enough to be able to manage that. And the second thing I need to do is plan my nutrition. So when am I going to take gels, when I'm going to have powder in my drink, and also because this is going to be a solo effort, I need to think about how I'm going to top up water. So I've been mapping out water fountains along the route. So where can I grab water for free? If not, where are the shops where I can top up on some water? Generally, it's not that complicated. When I did the Hurtwood 50k, I spent a lot more time looking at the elevation, whereas for this solo 60k effort, it's not so much of a worry in terms of the elevation. But I definitely need to think about how am I going to get enough water on, and where am I going to top up and refill. But yeah, generally that's it. So 12-week training block, big focus on stamina and long runs, with some speed sessions in, but really the second half of the block will be focusing on those back-to-back long runs, and the sort of extended long runs, and then kind of lifestyle factors that I'll try and improve on the way up to the race. But yeah, that's pretty much my current approach for how I'm going to map out my training, and how I'm approaching trying to run kind of that distance beyond a marathon. But yeah, I'm kind of 4 weeks into it now, and my body is starting to respond to the training quite well. I'm getting a lot more comfortable running the longer distances. So I'm going to head out this afternoon for roughly a 29k long run. So we'll see how that goes. All right, cheers.